Hello, hello, hello! I am Kazasagi Usagi, and I am here with more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I think this is our last day of Justice for All, and then we move on to Trials and Tribulations. Oh, more investigating? Well, shit. If I thought it was trial time. Well, if I had known that, I might have, continued less? It's fine. Perhaps more than one day. It's past 9 p.m. already, isn't it? I wonder if Mr. Edgeworth has already found Mystic Maya. These things take time. I'd say probably not. The police are professionals, Pearls. They'll find her, so don't you worry. And if we can win a not guilty verdict tomorrow, then everything will be okay. You're right. So the real person who killed Mr. Cordera was... that assassin, Mr. Shelley D. Killer, right? I bet my audio is still... And the card Miss Andrews found at the crime scene seems to be proof of that. But... if that's the case, then a new question comes to mind. Who was the one that hired D. Killer to begin with? You mean... who asked for the murder? That person didn't want to dirty their own hands in blood, but whoever this client is, they're still a killer. Come on, Phoenix. Who could have hired the assassin? Do you think it was Miss Andrews? I wonder. But if she was the client, then why go through the effort of to stab the knife in the corpse herself? But if Miss Andrews wasn't the client, then no, it can't be. Matt Angarde himself? If Mr. Angarde really did hire the assassin, then he is not innocent at all. Far from it. He would be guilty of the crime. But it can't be Mr. Angarde, right? I mean, when we first talked with him... Mr. Angarde, I'd like to ask you one more question. Did you kill Mr. Juan Correa? That's technically not a lie. Alright, just so we're clear, dude. I didn't kill anyone, and that includes Juan Correa, okay? I didn't see any psyche locks at that time. Actually, that reminds me. Do you remember something, Mr. Nick? Yeah, something Miss Andrews said at the trial today. She said something interesting. So what's this interesting thing? Oh, that's right. You didn't hear it, did you, Pearls? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought, anyway. It looked like somehow Juan had his hands in a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Mr. Angarde's secret. What is the secret? I don't know yet. But for now, let's think about it this way. Mr. Correa was going to reveal this secret. That means Mr. Angarde had plenty of motive to have Mr. Correa silenced. Which means we have to meet with Mr. Angarde. There's no way around it now. Isn't it like 9 p.m.? Wow, it's really getting late, isn't it, Mr. Nick? Yeah, it's past 9 p.m. already. But we still have some things to prepare for tomorrow's trial. There's still the matter of the secret Mr. Correa held about Matt Angarde and Miss Andrews' real intentions. Those are two things they must know tonight. But are visiting hours over at the detention center? I'm sure we'll think of something, Pearls. Don't you worry. Oh, fuck. Hey, wait! What is it, whippersnapper? All I know is nothing has anything to do with you is ever good. Like just now, I was handed this strange device for who knows what reason. And I was told to use it to search the whole hotel. That's the bug sweeper, isn't it? The one Gumshoe made? I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. But the request came from Edgy Poo, so... Edgeworth? And he said... If you feel angry, direct your anger at that unsophisticated lawyer. So I'm gonna feel free to direct all my anger towards you. Ugh, gee, thanks a bundle, Edgeworth. What a pal you are. Phoenix, you've been an asshole to him since he got back. I don't want to hear it. This is absolutely top secret, so you better keep it to yourselves. I heard they found a spy camera hidden in one of the presents. Very interesting. I'm sure it was, you know, it was to catch poor Juan in the middle of a scandalous meeting. Scandalous? What's that? It means, well, you know, the gossip that's been going around about my dear Juan. Oh, you mean that thing about Miss Andrews? But I'm sure she must have had a reason for getting close to Mr. Coretta. I'll let you in on another secret, youngin'. I know who planted that spy camera. It was that obnoxious, puffy-haired photographer girl, the nerve of some people. Spying on people by herself as if I wouldn't want to see it for myself, too. Wow, the alien actually admitted her true intentions for a change. I don't know exactly what you're thinking, but I can bet it's nothing good. But I didn't say anything. So you want to know about Juan and that manager, right? Actually, as I hear it, they were something of a refreshing pair, these two. Oh? I tell you, Juan really welcomed that manager with open arms, I heard. That manager? Who are you talking about? You don't know? That manager Juan had. It's a shame she killed herself, though. Oh, you're talking about Miss Celeste Stimpax, Miss Andrews' mentor, right? Yes, that's the one. That Celeste girl. She was supposed to get married, you know. Married? You mean to Mr. Coretta? Really, you young kids today don't know anything, do you? That girl Celeste killed herself 3 days after their marriage announcement. 3 days after their marriage announcement? What in... Why would Miss Impax want to kill herself? She was going to get married! Well, that's because she was thrown away, you see, by Juan. What? But they were going to get married, right? They promised each other, right? They held a grand announcement session, but 3 days later, Juan suddenly canceled their marriage. Is that true? It was the weekly magazine. But why? Why did he do that? That was not in the magazines, unfortunately. I see. That night after Juan called off the wedding, that manager, Celeste, killed herself. How terrible. I wonder what happened between those two. It is very weird. But she was being vague. It has something to do with Matt and Garde. On that night, there must have been at least a few hundred people here. I guess the police are done with their questioning and investigating. It looks like things here in the lobby have finally calmed down. It feels sort of tense in here, doesn't it, Mr. Nick? Yeah, it does. I wonder if something happened. You're Mr. Angade's lawyer, right? Yes, sir. Well, we finally found just the person we've been looking for. A real decisive witness. A decisive witness? You mean for the Angade case? We're taking the witness's statement right now. Gotta hand it to Mr. Edgeworth. What's Edgeworth up to now? Who is this witness? I think you know this person quite well, Mr. Lawyer. Oh, shit. Mr. Nick, between the kidnapper's demand and now this, I can't see any way to win here. Oh, yeah. Mr. Edgeworth wanted me to tell you something. It's gonna be a lot of heart. Feel it. He did? Even though visiting hours are long over the detention center, he wanted me to grant you special permission, so there you go. What? I've already called them, so they know. Go on, go talk to your heart's content. Thank you very much. This is such good news, Mr. Nick. I figured as much. I was hoping that I could come here before having to go to the detention center. To be told I couldn't talk to anybody. Go talk to your heart's content. It sounds like the police are pretty sure they have tomorrow's trial in the bag. I'm sure they must have transferred Miss Andrews here by now. So that means that both Mr. Angarde and Miss Andrews are in this detention center. Now then, whose story do I want to hear? Dude, it's Mr. Wright. I hope you can get me off the hook tomorrow. I'm counting on you. I hope so too. Edgeworth just dropped a bombshell on me by saying that Juan Correa was killed by an assassin, and that assassin's client is this man, Matt Angarde. Was wrong. Mr. Angarde, there is something I must know with 100% certainty. You seem kind of different. You're totally not like your usual lawyer self, dude. About the press conference. You mean the one where Juan was gonna dress up as the Nickel Samurai? Yeah, I heard a little more about that from Miss Andrews. Looked like somehow Juan had his hands in a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Could you please fill me in on what this secret is, please? Yeah. 5 of them. I knew this was coming. Mr. Nick, don't tell me. Psyche locks. You said a secret, right? But I don't have any idea what it is. Do you, dude? Did you know about Mr. Correa and Miss Andrews' relationship? Well, it's all over the tabloids, dude. But I don't know any of the details, if that's what you mean. Look, how many times do I have to tell you? I don't care what Juan did with his life. Miss Andrews, she had a purpose in mind when she started seeing Mr. Correa. Her mentor was Mr. Correa's manager, and Miss Andrews was going to get Miss Celeste's impact suicide note from him. Celeste? Does that jog any memories? Dude, I suddenly just got totally hungry. You up for a pizza? My treat. Mr. Nick, what's a pizza? Is it a kind of pea? Like green peas? Let's go eat one later, okay? I got cut off by the pizza dude at the shop. That's too bad. Well, how about we get our minds off this topic and start talking about something else, okay? Mr. Angarde, are you connected to Miss Impact's suicide in some way? I should have talked to Andrews first. Let me... Oh. Oh, Mr. Wright, please, you have to help me. Uh-oh. Mr. Powers? I forgot you were in this case. What happened? Why are you here? You see, I got roped into this somehow. What? And now I'm going to testify at tomorrow's trial. You're the witness? So the decisive witness is Mr. Powers? I was talking with a detective until a little while ago, and I was on my way home, and then all of a sudden, you there, you're under arrest, and I was brought back here. Oh. They said my face and whole self in general looks suspicious or something. Well, I guess I can see how they thought you looked suspicious. I'm just a normal guy on an exercise show for kids. Is that a crime? So about this testimony you're giving, what are you going to talk about? I really don't know yet. But it sounds like I saw something pretty important from what they tell me. You saw something important? What was it? Well, the detective told me not to talk about it. You can't tell anyone, and especially not that lawyer, he said. Who do you think is that lawyer the detective was talking about? I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's me. Yeah, you got it. Mr. Nick! Mystic Maya and myself are your only two allies in the whole world, but it's all right. Ouch. I don't really have a lot of friends, do I? You know what's really good? That I don't think we've seen Larry in this whole game. Hell yeah. This is going to do a lot of damage to Matt, you know. Because he's got that refreshing like a spring breeze image going. But what is he really like? Well, let's see. Matt's always been kind of a player with women. He would never really turn a pretty face away, if you know what I mean. He'd always say, it's just a game, to justify himself. What? How horrible! That's unforgivable! Sorry, didn't mean to offend you. But you know, he once said that there's only one person in the world who won't swoon over me. One person who wouldn't swoon over him. His manager. You know, Miss Adrian Andrews. Why is Mr. Powers suddenly looking kind of energetic? Because you see, I'm actually a sucker for gossip. I mean, celebrities and their world have this dazzling sort of image, right? A dazzling sort of image, but aren't you part of that dazzle, Mr. Powers? No, I'm more of a hairy, sweaty, smelly, brutish kind of guy, you see? But it's okay, really. I get to hear plenty of gossip about a lot of the other stars around me as things happen. Well, that's true. Oh, hey. Did you hear about this yet? About Miss Andrews' mentor and her suicide? You mean Miss Impax? We heard something about how her wedding was canceled. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I thought about it a little the other day, about that mysterious death. Hey, Mr. Wright, why don't you ask me about that? Go on, go ahead. Mr. Powers is so charged up, his skin is practically glowing with electricity. Celeste left a suicide note. And they say that Juan went and hid it. We heard about that in court. But there wasn't any actual proof that she had left a note. Well, this is what I think. I think that something bad was written on that note. Something bad for Juan, that is. Something bad for Mr. Correa. Why do you figure so? Well, before she died, Celeste talked with a few of her friends. And she said, it looks like I got caught up with a truly insidious man. Oh. A truly insidious man. Did she mean Mr. Correa by that? Well, there's no one else that fits the bill, right? And that would be reason enough for him to hide the suicide. I see. Well, that's some good info. Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Angarde and Miss Andrews, they're both at the detention center right now. There are still things I don't understand or know about, I'm sure. I have to get the two of them to tell me everything. Adrian. Oh, it's you. I'm sorry to be visiting at such a late hour, but there are a few questions I absolutely have to ask you tonight. Me? I thought your client was Matt. I'm sure Miss Andrews knows something. She can't be clueless about this secret Mr. Correa had on Mr. Angarde. I'd like to ask you about Matt Angarde, if you don't mind. Mr. Wright, you still don't know, do you? The real him, I mean. You seem to bear a lot of resentment towards Mr. Angarde. If that's the case, then why did you become his manager? And why would you become intimate with his rival? That has nothing to do with this case. Nothing. About Miss about Miss Celeste Impax. I had finally put her death behind me, and now, thanks to you, it's all come back to the surface. I'm sorry? Yes, I was shocked by her suicide. And it's true, when I heard the rumor that Juan was the one, who had hidden her suicide note, I began to draw close to him. I wanted to get her suicide note back and to burn it. You wanted to burn it? I didn't want it to spread just like another piece of gossip. But I never held any murderous intent towards Juan. I would never do something so stupid. Suicide note, huh? I wonder what it said. Why did you try to frame Mr. Angarde? That's simple. Because he's the killer, that's why. Isn't it the duty of every good citizen to inform the police? But there had to be another way. The police are excellent at doing their job, so they'd figure it out, right? Yes, they're so good that they couldn't figure out the real truth behind Celeste's death. Miss Andrews. Well, you know you're not the type of person to do something without a reason. So please, tell me why you did what you did. Revenge. Huh? Did you say something just now? A psyche lock, huh? Don't you understand yet? You're not my lawyer. To be honest, you're more like my enemy. But I'm sure I just heard Miss Andrews say revenge. Don't know if I can unlock that either. I'm missing just ample amounts of evidence about this particular situation. Mr. Nick, your phone! Hey, that's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? I don't like the sound of this ringtone right now. It sounds kind of ominous. Yeah, I know. Hello? We're in trouble now, pal. I'll be back at your office real soon. What's wrong? Something really unexpected just happened. Mr. Edgeworth, he... Oh, please don't tell me Edgeworth got shot too. Edgeworth... Anyway, hurry up and get back to the office, pal. I don't know what's going on anymore. It's no good. Hello? He got cut off. But what's going on, Mr. Nick? Gumshoe said we need to get back to the office right away. Then we should hurry back. I'm scared to go back. What are you talking about, Mr. Nick? Pull yourself together. Maybe it'll be good news. Somehow, I doubt that. What took you so long, pal? Mr. Edgeworth couldn't stick around forever and had to go. Well, what happened? We got him. We know who bought that spy camera. Eh? This quickly. And this bear's what gave them away, pal. The bear. I figured it out, pal. I figured that we should have been looking into the bear instead of the camera. But wasn't it Mr. Edgeworth that figured? Shh, girls. And, go on. There's only one person who bought one of those bears who's related to this crime. Who is it? Who would be so rude as to spy on another person in their room? Angarde. Huh? Angarde, your client. That's who, pal. And here I thought things couldn't get any worse. Are you sure you heard right? That the person who bought this bear was... I heard it from the department store clerk, pal. And this is the credit card receipt for the purchase. It's for $3,800, pal. That's an exact match to the price of that stuffed bear. The receipt. That's all you have. Nah, it's not just the receipt, pal. The store clerk said so himself. He told me, I'm sure I sold that bear to Mr. Angarde. I mean, the clerk even got Mr. Angarde's autograph out of it, pal. So I'm sure the person that bought this stuffed bear was Mr. Angarde himself. My sight is failing me. This can't be. So what about the spy camera we found? That was a dead end, pal. I mean, you can get this kind of thing from anywhere. But for now, I guess I can give these back to you to file away into evidence. I know you don't want to give up, pal. I didn't think it was possible. The person who put the spy camera in Juan Correda's room was Matt Angarde. Why? Why would Mr. Angardi do something like this? I bet it was to catch Miss Andrews and Mr. Coretta in one of their rendezvous. I bet it's not good enough for me. I have to know the absolute truth behind this camera. Are you gonna see him? Mr. Angardi, I mean. Yes. I'm scared, Mr. Nick. I wonder what we will find out next. I'm scared myself, but I have to put on a good face for Pearls. Madame Garde, what in the world have you done? I kind of think... Hold on. Let me try and gather my thoughts. I think it's kind of weird that he would get a camera to catch Andrews and Coretta, because that was already news. People already knew that. So it really didn't have any power or leverage. He hired the assassin. I think we can all kind of confirm that. I wonder if it was to make sure that the assassin did his job. So that in case that... Because now he's in this situation anyway. So he hired the assassin. You hire an assassin so that you don't have to do the murder yourself and that you don't get accused of the murder. But here he is being accused of murder. And so I wonder if this all breaks bad, that he'll be like, but here's a video of the real murder. Which would be absolutely buck wild. And like a power move against a professional, known assassin, but... It do be like that sometimes. You're working really late, you know. It's already past 10 p.m., dude. I think it's time you told me the truth. Relax, don't you know that ignorance is bliss? But if you really want to know, let's talk. God, this dude's got 5 of them. Now, let's hear what this secret of yours is. What if Mr. Coretta had been successful in his plan? What would he have disclosed? I told you before, dude, I don't know. I don't know anything about Juan, okay? Look, Mr. Wright, I can keep on saying it until I'm blue in the face, but I totally didn't pay Juan any attention the whole time that night. I mean, come on, I was in the middle of a nap. Don't lie to me. I know you paid close attention to Mr. Coretta, especially on that night. Someone used this camera to secretly film Mr. Coretta's room the night of the murder. Secretly film? What? And then sent the images that the camera took with this transmitter. Wow, but dude, where was this camera you're talking about hidden? These are really easy now that I have all my evidence. The spy camera was hidden in this bear's eye. A bear that was supposed to be a present from a fan. I guess Juan had a few of those kinds of fans too, huh, dude? Actually, I wouldn't say this bear was a present from a fan. You sure, dude? Who else could it be from? The person who gave this bear to Mr. Coretta was... Mr. Angarde, don't you know this bear from somewhere? I don't think I've ever met Mr. Bear before, dude. But he says he knows you. How could you forget such a great friend? What else did the bear tell you? He says that the one who put the camera in his eye was you, Mr. Angarde. If I didn't know how you work in court, I think I was in some serious trouble. Come on, this is all a joke, right, dude? You're just pulling my leg. Looks like you're not ready to give up your secret yet. Well, do you have any proof you want to show me first? Here is proof that it was you who put the camera inside the bear. I have here 1 credit card receipt, Mr. Angarde. It's from you. It's from when you bought that stuffed bear. Dude, all you can tell from this is that I spent $3,800. I go to that department store all the time, okay? This $3,800, this could be that toothbrush I bought that one time. A $3,800 toothbrush? It's ivory, and it got elephant hair for bristles. Ew, elephant hair. Is that what rich people use nowadays? Anyway, the store clerk clearly remembers you and your purchase. After all, you even gave him an autograph, did you not? Dude, you should have said that earlier. So can I ask you one thing? Yes. You're my lawyer, right, dude? So if you are, then why are you looking into stuff like that? Because if I don't know the truth, I can't help you. Sounds like more like super lawyer talk to me. Hey, let's stop talking about this, okay? No, not yet. I haven't asked why you set the camera up yet. And what your secret is. Of course, it would be strictly confidential. So, what are you going to do now? I'm going to find out what I want to know, because I must. The reason you hid this camera in Mr. Koreda's room and filmed it in secret is... I'm jumping ahead with my own logic, thinking that it was this, but I don't think Phoenix... Or that it was, like, to make sure that the assassin did his job. Unless it's... So I know it's the magazine clipping, because everyone's on about the Adrian Andrews and Coretta thing. I don't personally think that's it. Well, I know it's it for right now, but it just doesn't make any sense that that would be his true motive. Adrian Andrews? There is a rumor going around that Miss Andrews and Mr. Coretta were having secret meetings. You, who was keeping tabs on Mr. Coretta, you were going to reveal this as fact and turn it into a scandal, right? Dude, you can be such a moron. Uh-huh. Oh man, Mr. Lawyer Dude, what kind of scandal? That's the good stuff. That's what we in the industry call juicy. The good stuff? Juicy? Look, we can get publicity without spending a penny with that kind of stuff. I mean, if people stop paying attention to us, then it'd be at the end, dude. Too bad that wasn't your intention. What are you talking about? I wish your reason for spying was something so innocent, but it wasn't. You didn't spy on Mr. Coretta because of Miss Andrews. Then there's only one reason I can think of for you to do such a thing. The real reason you set up your camera in Mr. Coretta's room was... So he told us that was wrong. Should I go with my theory then? Because why would you set the camera there? Legitimately, why would you set the camera there if you weren't trying to capture... If it's not because of seeing them two together, and you specifically hired an assassin and knew he was coming, it's gotta be this. I was worried it might be too big a leap this soon. What is this card? Maybe he doesn't know about this card. This is a certain man's calling card. The man's name is Shelley D. Killer, and I'm sure you know of him, don't you? Shelly the Killer? That's ridiculous. Why would I know some shady scumbag like him? If you really don't know him, why are you acting so jumpy all of a sudden? This is it. I'm finally starting to get to the truth. I can't afford to make any more mistakes. Mr. Madangarde, I know why you're Mr. D. Killer. I know why you know Mr. D. Killer. It's because since you're the one who set up that camera, that means you knew. You knew exactly what was going to happen in that room. So how would you know something like that? It's because you're his client. That's why. You hired Shelly the Killer to assassinate Mr. Juan Correa. The real mastermind behind this whole murder is you, Matt Nangarde. And here I was, trying to be a good boy for you, dude. I thought if you didn't know, you'd be able to do your job without feeling bad. Well, that's what I thought anyway. Mr. Angarda, you really did hire... Hold on a sec. I'm gonna consult myself, okay? Consult myself? Well, I guess it's probably about time anyway. About time for what? I think it's time for you to meet him now, Mr. Lawyer Dude. Oh. How do you do, Mr. Lawyer? I'm Matt Angarde. Yeah? What's going on here? Are we using multiple personality to justify what's happening here? Well done, Mr. Wright. I bet it wasn't easy to gather as much information as you have. So you really are Shelly the Killer's client. You didn't really think I would dirty my own hands in this, did you? What do you mean? And that woman, Adrian, was quite brave herself, trying to stick the crime on me. I didn't think she had it in her. But all I care about is that Juan is dead. Isn't that right, Mr. Lawyer? You're lying! What a terrible... It's way past your bedtime, little girl. Go on and let us grown-ups talk about more adult things. But why did you hide the video camera? A weakling soon believes the words of others, just like that pathetic Adrian. He knew about Miss Andrews' secret? But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone, least of all assassins. What? Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. They turn their clients into cash cows by holding the sinful deed over their heads. And a superstar like me, how much do you think I'm worth? Care to guess? And that's why? Yeah, that's where the video comes in. It's got his face and the crime scene recorded on it, preserved for all time. And with that, I can keep him at bay, and even blackmail him if I want. That's right. That video is my insurance. Isn't that what they call it, Mr. Wright? Why would you do something so wrong? Because I'm a grown-up, and I can. Good enough of an answer for you, little girl? Why would you kill Mr. Correa? Because he was about to sling so much dung in my beautiful public image? Scandals are a little annoying, aren't they? This is all because of that press conference, isn't it? If Mr. Correa had been able to give it, then Mr. Ingarde's secret would have... Ah, well, that's what we call taking advantage of the situation. I had no interest in doing it, really, but bit by bit it crept up on me. And then the situation just presented itself perfectly. How beautiful, I thought. And that's how Mr. Correa ended up dead. Let me tell you something. I'm not like Adrian. I don't depend on anyone. People are simply things to be used and thrown away. Put on a sweet, innocent face and people will swallow anything you feed them. Adrian fell for it. The assassin, too. Oh, and how can I forget? Even you fell for it, Mr. Lawyer. Everyone, all working their butts off for me, Matt and Garde. How did that leave you? Did that leave you speechless? What a shame. What's wrong, Mr. Lawyer? You've grown awfully quiet. How could I have been so deceived by you all this time? When we first met, I asked if you had killed Juan Correa, and you answered very clearly that you hadn't killed anyone. Hey, now, I never told you any lies. The person who did the killing was that D-Killer guy, right? All I'm guilty of is taking a catnap in my room. You killed Mr. Correa. I dare you to say that in court tomorrow. Oh, but too bad. You can't. You're my lawyer, after all, aren't you? You could always drop my case and refuse to represent me. How does that sound? Aw, but you can't, can you? That would be the one thing you absolutely can't do. Mystic Maya? You wouldn't want to test D-Killer. He's a man of his word, or so I hear. You could end up getting a certain friend of yours rubbed out if you lose. You scoundrel. So if I were you, Mr. Wright, Esquire, I think I would give it my all tomorrow. Remember, everyone likes a happy win-win resolution. I'll get you for this. That's such a cliche phrase. Juan said something just like that, if memory serves. Of course, well, we all know how things turned out for him, don't we? Good night, Mr. Lawyer. Maya, what am I supposed to do? And now you finally found it. Oh, the starting line of this case. Edgeworth. I don't care for the horrid atmosphere here. Let's return to the precinct. Well, right. What are you going to do? If you plan on changing our strategy. No! We can't do that! That's right. He's holding Maya hostage. What should I do? That's not something I can answer for you. Mr. Edgeworth? Right. Only you can decide where to go from here. 1 year ago, at that time, I didn't truly understand what a prosecutor was. And that is why I had to leave the prosecutor's office. I felt that I couldn't stand in a court of law until I knew what a prosecutor really was. And now, right, it's your turn. My turn? What is this thing called a lawyer? What can you do as one? You must find the answer, and you must find it on your own. I'm a lawyer, but to fight for someone who is clearly a killer. Madame Garde, that man really... It doesn't matter who. Every person deserves a proper defense and a fair trial. Isn't that the basis of our judicial system? Proper defense? But what exactly is that? Is it where a lawyer forcibly and blindly gets an acquittal through shouting and trickery? Ironic that you of all people should say such a thing. Isn't that exactly how you have fought for your clients up until now? Well, that may be true, but that's because I believe my clients to be innocent from the bottom of my heart. But if I were to get Engarde an acquittal, that isn't a proper defense at all. I became a lawyer because I thought I could save people who were suffering and in pain. But when I look at this mess we're in, I can't even protect the person closest to me. Even if I win the case, I'd still lose in the end. I just don't know what to do. Right. Would you get a hold of yourself? You have it all wrong. We aren't some sort of heroes. We're only human, you and I. You want to save someone? That's something easier said than done, wouldn't you say? You are a defense attorney. You can't run away from that. You can only fight. That's all you can do. People like you and Francisca von Karma are always using all you have to pin me down. You fight to the very end, even when you know the truth is not with you. But I'm not like you. I can't fight for a false verdict for a man I clearly know to be guilty. Francisca, she fights for herself. The only thing she fights for is her perfect win record. That's all. And? Isn't that the same as you? Isn't that why you ran away a year ago? Because your precious win record was destroyed? You are so petty! Why would you think that? He lost like 2 cases in a row and then got accused of murder and then... Ugh. I see. Now I understand why you despise me so. However, you are mistaken. What Thanks to you, when you sealed off my path to a perfect win record, I began to realize the error of my ways. I realized that things such as a perfect record were meaningless. What? I don't believe you. Are you saying that is why you left the prosecutor's office? But then why? Why are you here now? The answer to that is something you will find out on your own. I have faith you will see it before the verdict is read tomorrow. But if you can't, then you will be powerless to change the ending of this story. That's okay, Sprightly. It do be like that. Mr. Nick, the transceiver. I'm so sorry for what happened earlier. Now then, Mr. Attorney, do you wager you can obtain an acquittal tomorrow? My. What is the matter, Mr. Attorney? I don't sense your usual anger this time. Tell me, please, why are you holding Maya hostage for Mr. Angarte's sake? Why are you doing this for that cold-blooded killer? Right. Please don't misunderstand things. He is my client. Don't toy with me. A man who hires an assassin is just as much of a killer himself. I believe you were asking me for a reason as to why I'm doing what I am. Yeah. This is what I like to call my aftercare. Oh, that's a term. What the heck is aftercare? My name carries a certain amount of honor and dignity, Mr. Attorney. I know, that's all I can think about. I take great care to ensure that no suspicion falls upon my clients for my handiwork. That is what is called client relations, and is part of an assassin's duty. An assassin's duty? We were unlucky this time, and my client was arrested as a suspect. As a result, I did what I had to do to enlist your expert help, Mr. Attorney, and to ensure that you would do everything in your power to the very end. What is your name? I believe I told you once before. However, you did, but... My name is DeKiller. Shelly DeKiller. You're Shelly DeKiller? Please keep in mind, you do not have much space to maneuver with me. As a day killer, I always finish what I set out to do. If you fail to keep up your end of the bargain, it would be my duty as an assassin to see it receives a nice long nap. No! Now then, if you'll excuse me, if someone were to trace this signal back to me, it would be quite troublesome. Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! I don't know what to say. Edgeworth! Did you hear that? At the end of that transmission. Oh, that? It sounded like a cat. A cat? It can't be. That cat. Can it? What is it? I think I know where Shelly DeKiller is holding Maya hostage. Edgeworth, have all police units head for Angarde Mansion immediately. Alright. You hurry over as well, then. Don't lose hope yet, Pearls. This fight has only just begun. Yeah! I think I can only get there from the hotel? Yeah, that's also what I was thinking. No, oh, there it is. The only place in the whole world that has a cat. Maya! Please answer us, Mystic Maya! We have this area completely surrounded. There is no way for him to escape. Assuming he's still in the area. I can't believe it. That butler, all this time he was the killer. He and Angarde were working together all this time. I'm sure they had worked out a contingency plan ahead of time. Oh, it's a figurine of a bear. There are a lot of cuts in it for some reason. Oh. A bear. Isn't that more of a thing for Mr. Coreda? Why would something like this be here? Right, look down. There's a little pet door installed here. Ah, I'm sure that's for Shu. Do you think that this came through the little door? This door, it's locked. Well, I'm pretty used to breaking doors by now. Let's go, Edgeworth. Ah, there's no one here. From the looks of this room, I would say this is Angarde's private lounge. Look at this, Wright. An antenna for sending and receiving radio signals and a VCR. Check inside the desk. If there's a tape, it would be an important piece of evidence. If we're lucky, it'll have the moment the crime was committed, recorded on it. I'm sorry, but the tape deck is empty. There's no tape to be found. No. But there's no mistake that someone used this to record something. It looks like someone took the tape we're looking for and escaped with it. The footage of the spy camera was beamed here and recorded on tape. If only we had that tape, it would have been really helpful. Huge television with speakers loomed largely here. I'm sure if Maya saw this, she'd say, I would die a happy samurai fan if I could see the nickel samurai on a TV like this. Yeah, that's what she'd say. Ah! I can't believe I just made a joke about Maya, all things considered. What a spacious sofa. I bet 10 pearls would fit on here. I don't think 10 of me would fit, Mr. Nick. I can't read all the labels, but this is a very large collection of videotapes. Looks like Angarde taped all of his own shows. Mr. Angarde's computer? Maya, why couldn't you have used this to get help? Mr. Nick, where's the power switch? Oh, I get it. So that's what happened. She couldn't find the power switch. There's a little door for Shu and this big door. I'm sure Maya used this door to shove this out here. I'm sure it was her. Every time you give me some piece of evidence, it's always the most crucial piece. This time too, I'm sure. It's a very small table. I bet we could barely squeeze 3 pearls on here. But I wouldn't sit on a table to begin with, Mr. Nick. Okay. Oh, cool. We've searched all over, but it looks like he got away. I'm sorry. Thank you for the sippy. I agree. We should measure most things by the size of a small 6-year-old girl. It looks like he slipped out of our grasp this time. And now we've lost our only lead. Don't give up yet. That little girl is looking to you to be her pillar. Yeah, you're right. We're close, I can tell. We've already set up checkpoints along every route leading out of the district. Leave the rest to us. Maya. This looks like a picture of Miss Impax. With love, Celeste. Miss Impax, you mean? Yeah, Mr. Coreda's former manager. Why would a picture of Miss Impax be here in Mr. Angarde's mansion? And why does it say with love? This might be a clue. What's wrong, Pearls? But please let me see that picture frame. What's so special about the frame? On the back. There's something written on the back of the frame. Maya. It's Mystic Maya. She left us a message. What? I thought you'd come. I knew you would. Now listen up. You better get Angarde a guilty sentence, okay? If you get that creepy slime bag and not guilty, I'll never forgive you. Ever. I'm fine, so you don't need to worry. There's so much I want to write, but I don't think I have a lot of time left. Pearly, you're there too, right? Make sure you help Nick, okay? Someone's got to watch out for that helpless lunk. That's it for now, Nick. I guess I'll talk to you guys later. That's... No! Mystic Maya! Right. What's wrong? Why the blank stare? Oh, nothing. We've searched the house, and this is the last room. It looks like he eluded us. Edgeworth. Yes. As far as clues go, I think this is about all I'm going to get. But I'm still short one last thing. And what is that? Miss Andrews' psyche lock. If I could just find out what secret she's holding, then I think I stand a chance in court tomorrow. To blow this case wide open and expose the truth. I think I know what you're thinking. I'll contact the detention center. Thank you, Edgeworth. Well, let's go, Pearls. It's time to open that last lock. She's just standing there crying. Good evening, Mr. Wright. What's wrong? You look ill. Miss Andrews. I have come to remove your psyche lock. She doesn't know what the fuck that means. The psyche lock? I want to know, and you will tell me, your secret. Fine. Go ahead. Try to break me if you can. Take that! Can you please tell me why you framed Mr. Angarde for murder? I've already told you countless times it's because I thought Matt Angarde was the killer. No, that's not it. I know you have a personal reason to dislike Mr. Angarde. Miss Andrews, you may think I didn't hear it, but I know you said something earlier. You said revenge. So, you were saying I was taking my revenge out on Matt, and that's why? What an absurd idea. I don't have anything I want to take revenge for. Miss Andrews, a woman who lives by being dependent on other people. There is something or someone in her past that would make her take revenge. Well, that's an easy one. Take that! Celeste, there's only one catalyst that could cause such strong feelings and even revenge, and that is Miss Impact's suicide. What are you trying to say? Celeste was Juan's manager. On top of that, the one who hit her suicide note was also Juan. What does this have to do with Matt? You're right. You haven't mentioned him yet. But for you to hate Mr. Angarde, it would mean that he must have had some relation to Miss Impacts and her suicide. Can you explain to me the relation between Celeste and Matt? Lovers. This is a photo of Miss Impacts, correct? She looks younger than when she passed away, though. What? With love, Celeste. This is Miss Impacts' handwriting, isn't it? Where did you find this? No, if that's alright, it was a rhetorical question. Yeah, it is. I found this in Mr. Angarde's mansion. And after all this time, my last remaining secret has been revealed. Celeste, she was supposed to get married to Juan. Yes, but I heard that it didn't work out. Because Mr. Correa didn't want to get married to her anymore, right? Yes, because of Matt. Because of Matt and Garde? What do you mean? I think I can see where this is going. Good, because I can't. Celeste, she was Matt's manager a long time ago. She was the happiest woman in the world at the time. I was working part-time back then, and I often saw the two of them together. So that's why. With love, Celeste is written on the frame of that picture. They were a couple, weren't they? It wasn't anything as splendid as that. Celeste was being used. Toyed with until she was thrown away. Yeah, that's it. Our client is not technically guilty. He hired an assassin, but that still makes him pretty guilty. But yeah, if we don't get the not guilty, then Maya dies. And we've never had a guilty client before, so we're in a conundrum. That's so horrible. Matt's entire image is built around how nice and wonderful of a man he is. A scandal would have destroyed that. Which is why Celeste and her kindness moved over to Worldwide Studios. And that is where she met Juan. She seemed really happy with him. Even happier than when she was with Matt. Celeste and Juan were such a good match that they were even planning to get married. And then, it was suddenly called off. On the night Juan called their marriage off, Celeste, she killed herself. And that's why I framed Matt. It was revenge for Celeste and for myself. I still don't quite get it. I'm sure even you can guess why Juan called off the wedding, right? Matt confessed to Juan about his relationship with Celeste. I see, so that's what happened. So it really... But... Then why did Mr. Correa have to call off the wedding? I don't understand at all! Man, me neither. It was probably because of his worthless male pride. Oh, they're both garbage. Understood. Juan and Matt were always fierce rivals. Matt waited for the wedding announcement and then unleashed the truth on Juan. He was aiming for it. He was aiming for when it would hurt Juan the most. Poor Ms. Impex. That wasn't the end of it. That day, I'm almost certain that Celeste left a suicide note behind. And in the note, she left a detailed account of Matt's various misdeeds. And, so that she would never again be hurt by Matt, she chose to die. Then, when Juan discovered her body, he hid her note. But why would he do that? It's simple. Juan realized that note was a powerful weapon against Matt, and it would be especially damaging to his refreshing like a spring breeze image. In any case. With his pride hurt, Juan sought revenge. Revenge? There's that word again. Juan wanted to publicly disclose the contents of that suicide note. At a time that would cause Matt the most damage, of course. And that was at the press conference after the stage show. I know all about it because I heard it from Juan. It was so I could find out about all this that I drew close to Juan to begin with. They're quite a pair of hideous monsters, aren't they? Even Celeste's death was something for them to use in their game. That night, when I found Juan's body, it was only natural that I thought the murderer was Matt. The two were always spying on one another after all. As for me, I was frantically searching for Celeste's suicide note. I wanted to destroy it before it ever went public. I was going to burn it. I had even brought a lighter. But I couldn't find the suicide note, and that's when revenge crossed my mind. I was going to bring to them my own kind of cruel revenge. Celeste was killed by those two monsters. So when I stabbed Juan's body with that knife, I didn't feel a single shred of guilt. And that's all I have to say. Well, Mr. Wright, even knowing all this, are you still going to help that man? I'm a lawyer. I see. What a foul profession. Thank you very much for your time and talking with me. It was no big deal. I couldn't sleep anyway. I can't sleep either. Not with Maya's situation or with what I know now. It really was just, I fucked your future wife. And he was like, well, can't have that. That's so gross. That's such a weird reason not to marry somebody. Ugh. Disgusting. How did I get into this mess? That's far enough. You can't run forever. What have I done wrong? I cannot allow you to go on like this. But I'm just a simple defense attorney. Silence. You are no longer worthy of your title. That's what happened in the... Yeah, this case is weird. I like that we have a client that is not innocent, but I don't know if we are going about this a super great way. As if this day was written into my destiny. No, I miss dialogue because it's going on its own. Today I'll stand in court as a lawyer to prove a killer innocent. All the Edgeworth stuff has been really strong. And how he's grown. And his, Oh, I need that to stop. The Edgeworth stuff has been really, really good. With him coming back and going, this is what I've learned, this is what I've thought about, and this is what I'm going to do. And I think that's been really, really good. And I don't know if it's just because I'm super... I don't know, I just think Edgeworth is a really good character. Yeah, this Edgeworth's been really good. Phoenix has been a hot mess all game, though. And, like, I don't know, he gets mad at Edgeworth over, like, this really weird bullshit. That is, like, it's, like, really weird, and, like, we're missing... Edgeworth, like, still clearly remembers the end of last game. But Phoenix somehow doesn't seem to. I don't know, it's bizarre. Like, dude, his whole life fell apart. Give the man a break. Hello, this is Phoenix Wright. You don't look so well, dude. You're gonna prove me not guilty today, right? If you please, Mr. Lawyer. Remember, it's not just me, your precious friend's life is riding on today's verdict, too. I'm also tired of Maya being kidnapped and found guilty of crimes and shit. If you get that creepy slime bag and not guilty, I'll never, ever forgive you. Maya. Phoenix. Phoenix. But Mia! Maya, how's Maya? I don't know. You don't know? She hasn't tried to channel me since yesterday. Mia, what am I supposed to do? Well, like I said, for a lawyer, the worst of times are when you have to force your biggest smiles. But You can't give up. There's still some hope left. Stop it, please. There's nothing left. Not here, not anywhere. Is that a cursed Engarde again? Will you leave me alone? Look, don't call me anymore. I mean it. You're real mean, pal. Ah, Gumshoe, I'm really, really sorry. Where are you? Yeah, I assume so. Well, let me join the investigation team again, and we're chasing after the killer, pal. Then you have some sort of lead. Sorry, but right now we've got 0 leads on the guy. But we're not going to give up. Gumshoe. Until the trial is over, until the verdict is handed down, we're going to do everything we can and find the killer. If we can get Maya out, then you can get Engarde the guilty verdict he deserves, pal. That's true, I could do that if they found Maya first. You got that? So you have to do whatever you can to make the trial last longer. I have to make the trial last longer? If you go at Mr. Edgeworth with everything you got, then you two can draw it out. Oh, now I get it. I believe in you, pal. You and Mr. Edgeworth can do it. So, believe in us. We're gonna give it all we've got, just like you. Got it. Thanks, Gumshoe. Yeah, they're gonna find Maya, and then, like, at the very last possible minute. Hey, Phoenix, you understand now, don't you? You have something money will never be able to buy. Friendship. It's the strongest weapon in the world, and you have it in abundance. Yeah! This is a weird thing to bring up in a lawyer game. Looks like we're coming to the end. I have to make the trial last as long as I can. Gumshoe will come through. I know it. Don't worry. With the power of friendship, we will surely get the guilty verdict. Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Engarde. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Now, as I recall, we concluded yesterday's session with a big mystery on our hands. The mystery being, what exactly was Miss Adrian Andrews' role in this murder? That is to say, is she really connected to the crime itself? Mr. Edgeworth, if you would please inform the court of today's proceedings. Adrian Andrews. She forged evidence that threw suspicion onto Matt Engarde, and then proceeded to escape the crime scene by wearing a nickel samurai costume. The guilt of these actions are those from which she cannot escape. And you're saying that she's guilty after all? I'm not finished, Your Honor. Miss Andrews has nothing to do with committing the actual murder. I would like to direct the court's attention to this card. What is that? It looks like a shell. This is the calling card of a certain assassin. Assassin, you say? Yes, Juan Corrado was killed by a professional assassin. And the person who hired the assassin, his client, so to speak, is Matt Engarde. What a surprising turn of events! I would think it's become commonplace by now, Your Honor. I know what's going on this time, so I know that everything Edgeworth has said is true. But we still have to hold out as long as we can, at least until Maya's safe and sound. I wonder how the trial will turn out today. So I have to... What is my purpose in this case? To lie more than you do, sure? Because Edgeworth is right. That is exactly what happened. So I have to find contradictions in the truth? The prosecution calls the defendant's mentor, Mr. Will Powers, to the stand. Now then, witness, your name and occupation, please. Okay. I'm Will Powers. I'm a poor, underpaid action star. And what is your relation to the defendant? Well, I guess I'm sort of a lousy mentor to him in a way. Yeah. Mr. Powers, please, you don't need to put yourself down so much. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm just kind of a nothing sort of guy. On the night of the murder, you visited the defendant's room. Is this correct? Yes. I didn't know that. But you know, I didn't actually get to see Matt when I went in. All you need to do is answer what you were asked. Now then, I would like you to please testify about when you went to Mr. Angarde's room. Okay, sure. After the awards ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room. Matt was standing there in front of his room, still in the Nickel Samurai costume. He was talking with someone. At first I thought it was the bellboy. I watched the two of them for a while, but then I gave up and went back. I had guests with me that night, so I couldn't make them wait for me. Nothing sounds out of place in Mr. Power's testimony. And talking with the bellboy is no big deal. If one assumes that the person Mr. Angarde was speaking to was an ordinary bellboy, what are you implying? Well, Mr. Wright, let's have your cross-examination, shall we? Looks like we're in another sticky situation. Huh? A trap. Can't you smell it, Phoenix? But for us to find out more, we're just going to have to charge in head first, right? After the awards ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room. The defendant's room. Why did you go there? Well, I'm his mentor, like a big brother sort of, and I wanted to say congrats. What's wrong? Why did you stop? Mr. Wright! What is it? You're going to try and trick me into a corner, aren't you? I know I'm just a poor underpaid action star, but I'm not the killer. No one said you were, Mr. Powers. No, please, don't trick me. Every time you do your lawyer thing, the witness suddenly turns into the bad guy. Every time. Witness, I will personally talk to the defense at a later time. So for now, please kindly cooperate and continue with your testimony. Sorry. So you went to the defendant's room and then... Hey, wait a minute. When and how did I suddenly turn into the bad guy here? Matt was standing there in front of his room, still in his Nickel Samurai costume. Are you sure that was Matt Angarde? Yeah, I'm sure. He wasn't wearing the Nickel Samurai mask then. If that's the case, then he really can't be mistaken. And... what was the defendant doing standing in front of his own room? He was talking with someone. At first I thought it was the bellboy. At first? What do you mean by that? Well, he was in a bellboyish uniform and he had a bottle of juice on a tray. Sounds like an ordinary bellboy to me. Yeah, but I didn't think he was a normal bellboy. And why was that? Why did I think that, Mr. Wright? How am I supposed to know? Sorry, but I can't remember right now. Sorry. I guess I'm going to have to wait patiently on this one. I watched the two of them for a while, but then I gave up and went back. You saw the two of them, the bellboy and the defendant, together, correct? Yeah, the bellboy just wanted to say congrats. Now, while you were watching the two of them, did you notice anything strange? You know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt... well, he gave the bellboy a tip. A tip? But that's a perfectly normal thing to do. So how long did you watch the two of them? I wonder if that was a more pressing point in the original version, like the Japanese version. Because tipping is a no-go, I believe, in Japan. And most of the world? So I bet giving the bellboy a tip was a big red flag. Oh, that would have been cool. But it's very common in North America. I actually used to work, in the international, part of an airport. Q and I used to work together at the international part of an airport. And our job was heavily reliant on tips. But you did not get a lot of tips in international. Because, it's just not a custom for a lot of places. And then they would be mad at us for not having tips and not being able to report them. And I'd be like, bruh, I'm sorry, my they didn't give me any tips. And then I got written up for having no tips. And then they told me that if I didn't get any tips, I should simply say that I got tips anyway. And I said, no thank you. And I quit. Oh, it was horrible. They got really mad at Q, because we had I don't know, they were always on Q's case about stuff, and, they were mad that her shirts were not white enough, and her shirts were perfectly fine, and they were, like, yelling at her in front of, like, all of us, and so she got really upset. And I was like, it's gonna be okay. And I was actually very, very sick and should not have been working in international. So they were sending her home because they kept making her buy their shirts, which are like made out of these really rough materials. And they were like really hurting her skin. So she said she wasn't gonna buy another shirt. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So they were gonna send her home. And I was like, well, I'm very sick and we share a car. So I would also like to go home. And I was told that I couldn't go home. And I was like, this is some bullshit. And they were still being mean to her. And I was like, you know what? We quit. And I took her hand and we were like packing up our stuff. And this lady absolutely freaks out at the both of us and starts screaming at us in this tiny office. And she's like, is this about shirts? I'll give you all the shirts you want. And it was like that scene with the woman and the wire hangers in that movie I can't remember the name of, and I was like terrified, and I just had Q's hand so tight, and I was like, we gotta fucking go. It was so crazy. And then we were like in the middle of like the airport and kind of just like booking it, and Q goes, wow, I feel great now. And I was like, yeah. We don't have jobs anymore. But it was crazy. Yeah, I worked in some crazy, like, not great environments, but that was the most, like, insanely baffling one. It was just, like... It was funny because our mom got us those jobs, so we got a call a few days later, and she was like, so what happened? Yeah. So how long did you watch the two of them? It was absolutely fucking buck wild. She wasn't mad. She was like, yeah, that lady's crazy. And I was like, well, thanks, Mom. Thanks for getting us that job. They wanted Q back, though. But they wouldn't call her. They just wanted our mom to convince her to come back. They wouldn't, like, call and apologize. They didn't care about me, though. And that's fine, because I didn't care about them either. Not more than a minute or two, I think. It seems like my mom still works at the airport, but like there's some jobs that were really good. Ours was I don't know how to explain it, but it was very like manual labory. It was really hard for me to do because with airports are required to have wheelchair access and stuff. So what we would do is that we would take people from terminals to terminals in their wheelchairs and stuff. But where it got really difficult was like we would have to do the luggage too. And I am very small and I am not very strong. So it was really, really hard for me to push somebody. And it was really hard for me to push somebody, and if they had a lot of luggage, pull that as well. So it was very, very taxing. And then the airport we worked at was insanely huge. And so sometimes from going from like international to a different terminal, it was so far, and you had to take a tram. So you had to get the person in the wheelchair on the tram and then all their luggage and get them to their flight on time. And I was just like, this is so, I am simply not strong enough to do this. I had guests with me that night and I couldn't make them wait for me. Yeah, it was very, very rough. Now, do you remember this incident? That's good. Did Mr. Powers leave his seat that night? I don't remember that happening at all. Maya was making such a racket in her hyper state. I ended up focusing on her. I see. In any case, in his story, he probably wasn't gone for very long. I don't know if I've ever been to JFK. I can't remember what airport the one time I went to New York, but we were working for O'Hare. Oh, I actually do think it was LaGuardia, because I don't remember it being a super big airport. But Q and I worked at the O'Hare airport, which is it's a huge airport, one of the bigger ones in the Chicagoland area. So it has 5 terminals, I believe. Yeah, I don't remember it being super big. I do remember it being super shitty, because, like, O'Hare is, like, genuinely really pretty. After the awards ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room. I have not absorbed anything from this man's testimony. The defendant's room? Why did you go there? Well, I'm his mentor, like a big brother sort, and I wanted to say congrats. What's wrong? Why did you stop? Oh, we've already read this. I'm so distracted telling my life stories. Hold on. That's fair. Yeah, it was the closest airport in New York to Times Square, because we went to go see Hamilton. So, we wanted to be as close. The clap is, I don't know. Our client is actually guilty this time. Alright, let's try this again. Is that a Canada airport? Well, you saw the two of them, the bellboy and the defendant together, correct? Yeah, the bellboy just wanted to say congrats. Now, while you were watching the two of them, did you notice anything strange? We did read some of this. We have two big ones in Chicago. There's Midway, which is like right in the main city, and that airport sucks ass. And then there's O'Hare, which is actually really nice, but it's just really big. And when I worked there, there's a big long, hallway that we used to call Rainbow Road, because it flashes all different colors, and it's the longest, most horrible hallway in all of existence that I had to constantly walk through, day in and day out, with passengers. I wish I'd been paying more attention instead of talking about my terrible airport job. This is my bad. Oh. At first, what do you mean by that? I didn't think he was a normal bellboy. And why was that? Why did I think that, Mr. Wright? How am I supposed to know? Hey, wait a second. Actually, Mr. Powers, only a few minutes ago you stated... you know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt, well, he gave the bellboy a tip. Could it be that you felt something strange about this tip-giving incident itself? I thought you were all done with classes, because you just had finals. Ah, yeah! That's it! You really know your job. Mr. Edgeworth. No, what happened? How do you have more classes? Sad. How studious of you. That's fair. This bellboy, he wasn't an ordinary one, was he? Perhaps we should let the witness tell us. Very well. Mr. Powers, please amend your testimony. You mean about the bellboy, right? Matt gave the bellboy a tip. So he gave the bellboy a tip. What's so strange about that? Well, you see, Matt's not a poor penny pincher like me. I was trying to figure out how much it was because the tip really shocked me. How much it was? But that's when something even more surprising happened. The bellboy was putting the tip he got in his pocket, and that's when I got my first good look at the guy's face. I was really shocked. I'm afraid I don't follow at all. Sounds like Mr. Powers was surprised twice by this event. I wonder which of his shocking moments I should ask about. Was it enough money to make it seem like an assassin? Like an assassination payment? The defendant is a huge star. He can afford to give generous tips, wouldn't you agree? Sure. But giving him that much was maybe a little too much, I think. A little too much. Would you please clarify for the court? How much would you say the defendant gave to the bellboy? Honestly, I don't know. I can't even begin to guess. And why is that? Because he gave the bellboy a really fat roll of cash. A roll of cash? You must leave. Oh, well, how interesting. That certainly was a very generous tip, wasn't it? Well, goodbye, Zach. Thank you for stopping by. The aftercare money. Sprightly. I'll give you an angry bun. A very fat roll of cash. That can hardly be called a tip, Your Honor. I really wish, I don't know. I just keep calling, he gave the man the tip. The judge is beginning to look awfully suspicious of us. There's nothing I can really object to here. I mean, who can argue that a fat roll of money isn't really odd? So supposing that roll of cash was not a tip, then what was it? Payment, Your Honor. Payment? Isn't it obvious? For the murder of Mr. Juan Correa. Then the bellboy, the witness saw. Yes, he was the assassin. Hold your horses. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, you don't have any proof of this, do you? Have I ever been unprepared to support my claims, Your Honor? I have here the card Shelley de Killer left at the scene of the crime. Shelley de Killer. He is the person the police's special investigation team has been chasing for ages. I am certain that the person the witness saw was this very assassin, Shelley de Killer. Really? What's wrong, Mr. Powers? Nothing. Something just clicked in my head, and I think I just figured something out. Oh? Actually, I saw that bellboy again later on that night. What? Mr. Powers, please testify. Tell us what you saw. Yes, sir, right away. This time, I was in that hallway because I had to go to the bathroom. And that's when that bellboy I saw earlier came out of the room. Of course, when I say room, I mean Juan Coreda's room. Now, that I think about it, the bellboy did seem kind of out of place. Yeah, so he had to be the assassin, I'm sure of it. I mean... Thank you very much, that is all we need to know for now. Huh? But I'm not done. There's still more. Let us first establish that the bellboy was truly Mr. De Killer. Then we shall see. So the bellboy came out of the victim's room. And if the bellboy really was the assassin, then I think the answer is fairly obvious. That would be correct, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Wright, I believe it's your turn to entertain and make us laugh. Ha ha ha. This is no laughing matter. This time, I was in that hallway because I had to go to the bathroom. And that's... Oops. There we go. And what time was it? Well, I don't remember. The awards ceremony ended around 8 p.m., right? And I went to Matt's room pretty soon after that, and then I came back. And then I went to the bathroom. So I guess maybe it was around 8:10 by that time. You're not one for details, are you, Mr. Powers? Sorry. I thought I could maybe catch Matt and say my congrats. And that's when the bellboy I saw earlier came out of the room. Are you sure it was the same bellboy? Yeah. And how could you tell? All the bellboys wear the same uniform, after all. But you see, well, he had those stitches in his face. Ugh. So I'm sure it's the same guy that's talking with Matt. So which room did the bellboy come out of? Of course, when I say room, I mean Juan Coreda's room. The victim's room, huh? Yeah, the one with all the really pretty flowers and teddy bears. It was Juan's room, alright. Words cannot describe how screwed I am. Let's continue with the testimony, shall we? Now, that I think about it, the bellboy did seem kind of out of place. So what exactly was so out of place about him? Right. Why the insipid grin? Maybe because I have no idea what damaging thing he's gonna say next. Well, the bellboy was empty-handed. Empty-handed? The bellboy was one of those room service people, right? But he wasn't pushing a cart and he wasn't holding a tray either. You'd call that a little strange too, wouldn't you? I agree that is a bit strange, Mr. Powers. But is it really that unusual for a bellboy to be empty-handed? What should I do? Should I let Mr. Powers' testimony slide, or... Gotta prolong this bullshit. There is nothing strange or unusual about an empty-handed bellboy. But there really is. There really isn't. If you two are done being school children, bellboys are for room service. There is no reason for them to be empty-handed ever. Your Honor, I ask that the witness' previous statement be supplanted with this new one. Edgeworth, are you going to do whatever you can to make the bellboy look suspicious? I see. Very well. This court recognizes and grants the prosecution's request. Mr. Powers, if you could amend your testimony, please. Yes, sir. I thought it was kind of strange for a bellboy to come out of the guest room empty-handed. So you're saying this it's suspicious for him to be empty-handed? Yeah, really suspicious. I mean, when I first saw that bellboy, he was holding a tray in his hand. And there was a bottle of juice and with a wine glass on it. Juice. What kind of juice was it? I'm pretty sure it was tomato juice. If we could come up with some sort of reason as to why he would come out empty-handed, some sort of proof, then I think we can dodge the bullet on this one for now. Proof, huh? Sounds like another job for the court record. It's 'cause he delivered it. Come on, guys. I know. Mr. Powers. Yes? You're easily influenced by other people's words, aren't you? As soon as you heard that the bellboy might have been the killer, you got caught up in believing it must be true. But isn't he really suspicious? He's got all those stitches and... So, a baseball has stitches. Are you saying baseballs are suspicious because they have stitches? Ooh. Well, there's also... I mean, what about him being empty-handed? I would like to ask the court to please take a look here. This is the crime scene. There is a wine glass sitting next to Mr. Corrida's body. The liquid inside the glass is tomato juice. And now, if you would look at what is on top of the table in the lower right corner here, anyone can clearly see that it is a tray with a bottle of tomato juice on it. The bellboy had just brought this to Mr. Corrida's room. He left the tray in the room, which is why he was empty-handed when he left. Oh, but that would mean that the bellboy had seen and left a dead body in a room. But can you prove that Mr. Corrida was already dead at that time? Mr. Edgeworth. Yes. I blame you for leading me down this route. I'm terribly sorry. What is with him? Why is he laughing? Witness, isn't there one more thing you would like to share with us? Is there? The bellboy was empty-handed. Or should I say empty-handed? I recall you had something interesting to say about his hands. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. What? The bellboy. He was wearing gloves. Gloves? Yeah, pitch black leather ones. All the other bellboys don't wear gloves like that, right? Black leather gloves. Why didn't you mention them earlier? Sorry, it slipped my mind. Boy, does this make the bellboy look really suspicious. Alright, gotta focus. I can't get lax here. So what if he had gloves? A lot of bellboys wear gloves. Come on, Mr. Wright, that bellboy was wearing black leather gloves. So, a football is made of leather. Are you saying all footballs are suspicious because they are made out of leather? But that man, he received a large roll of cash from the defendant. And then he was seen leaving the crime scene wearing black leather gloves. I don't think that even someone like myself can believe it was just another bellboy. Ugh. It seems that we have finally come to an understanding. Now then, witness, please continue with the rest of your testimony. The rest? Oh yes, please tell us more. Okay. After leaving Juan's room, the bellboy went and knocked on Matt's door, just like that. He gave something to the person inside the room. Then, the old guy just left, without even going into the room. After that, I went to the bathroom, and then back to my seat. This is true, Sprightly. So the bellboy, after leaving the crime scene, next went to the defendant's room? Yeah, I kind of saw all that by accident. Some accident. I'd say you saw too much. And all of it was suspicious on a high heaven. I think it's safe to say that we can no longer consider this bellboy to be normal. Now then, let's get started, shall we, Mr. Wright? Your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. After leaving Juan's room, the bellboy went and knocked on Matt's door, just like that. Is that what you saw while you were busy spying? Excuse me? I may be a poor, underpaid action star, but even I wouldn't stoop to spying. Well, I think the point is, where did you watch all this from, Mr. Powers? Oh, from the door to the bathroom with my left eye, and sort of a sneaky spy-like. I knew he was spying. Please, does it really matter if he was doing it over or underhandedly? What did the bellboy do next? That's all I care to know. He gave something to the person inside the room. I said, hold it. Okay. That's better. What kind of statement is that? Please elaborate and give us a few more details. Oh, okay. I should probably ask him only one question at a time. So who took this something the bellboy handed off? Actually, I don't know. What do you mean? Oh, I'm sorry, but I only saw the person's arm. Only saw an arm? Then you're saying you didn't see the person's face? Yeah. Well, it was Mr. Angarde's room, correct? So it could have only been Mr. Angarde himself, I'd say. And then, what did the bellboy do after that? Oh, so after he gave the person inside the room the thing, then the old guy just left, without even going into the room. After that, I went to the bathroom, and then back to my seat. Well, Mr. Powers' testimony just now was as vague as his first. It's a little troublesome, isn't it? But I'm sure if you press him enough, everything will become clearer. Although, that just makes it harder on us, doesn't it? Ugh, talk about a loose situation. I said hold it! Oh yeah. What kind of statement? One question at a time. He gave something to this person. Yeah! And what was this something? If I remembered what it was, I wouldn't be calling it a something, would I? But this implies that something was removed from the scene of the crime. Are you sure you really can't remember, Mr. Powers? I think it was something kind of small. I would like to summarize the testimony up to this point, if you don't mind. When the bellboy left the crime scene, he immediately went to the defendant's room. There, he handed a small item of some sort to the person inside. As for the person who received the item, all you can see was the person's arm. Yes, it was just like that. Mr. Edgeworth, is all this really important? Of course, Your Honor. I think this is of the utmost importance. This is when whatever was removed from the crime scene was handed over to the client. A lot of the questions that Edgeworth are being asked are questions that we usually get asked, like, is this really important? And he has to confirm that it is and explain why. It's actually really neat to be on kind of this side of things. I don't know. There's something about Edgeworth's part in this that is very good. Mr. Powers, please try to remember what it was that the bellboy handed off. Oh, well, let's see. I think it was... no. If you remember, please add it to your testimony. Yes, sir. If I saw it again, I could say for sure, but I think it was some sort of wooden statue. Oh. Am I wrong? Did I sort of jump the gun? Was the point of that pregnant pause? Where did that objection come from? Well, speak up. It was me, Your Honor. What is it, Phoenix? I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen once I show this. Mr. Wright, if you have something to say, please spit it out. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Phoenix, deep breath. Mr. Powers, the something you saw. Was it this item? Oh, hey, that's it. That's the something. Wow, Mr. Wright, you really figured it out. I recall we found this at Matt Angarde's mansion. At the defendant's house! What does this mean? It's simple, Your Honor. Shelley the Killer assassinated Juan Correda in his room. And then he stole this wooden bear from the scene of the crime. Then the bear being found in Mr. Angarde's mansion would mean... It goes without saying, Your Honor. Mr. Matt Angarde is the killer's client. Order, order, order. I said order. Mr. Wright, this is a most unfortunate turn of events for you. Yeah. Sorry, Mia. No, it's alright. Your judgment was sound. Actually, I figured the bear would come up. If not now, then it would have later on. Even if you hadn't shown it to the court, I'm sure your friend Edgeworth would have. I almost forgot that he knew about it too. I think it is clear that there is no need for us to continue this trial. I can't let this happen. I have to do something. There has to be something we've overlooked. Your Honor, a minute, please. Yes, Mr. Wright. There are still a few points left we have not fully explored. What are you trying to pull? Edgeworth knows that Maya will die, though, right? Well, we can't have that. All right, Mr. Wright, what questionable point would you like to explore further? That person's still technically somehow a mystery. There was one thing in Mr. Power's testimony that was very unclear, and that is the identity of the person who received the bear. He gave something to the person inside the room. I'm sorry, but I only saw the person's arm. As long as we don't know who it was that took the bear, we can't be sure of— Ah! What is it, Mr. Powers? If you're going to scream like that, at least give us a good reason why. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Actually, so, I remembered. I remember who took the bear. What? Really? I mean, I only saw his arm. But the arm... It was the Nickel Samurai's arm, I swear it. You've got to be kidding. Are you sure of that, Mr. Powers? Yeah, I'm sure it was the Nickel Samurai. Order, order. It looks like you've dug your own grave yet again. How many times is that today? I've lost count. So the person who took in this little bear was the Nickel Samurai. And as we all know, Matt Ngarde is the Nickel Samurai. Thanks to the defense, we've made that all the clearer. What am I supposed to do now, Mia? Help! You don't have time to act lost. You've got to find another angle to attack this from. Hurry! Now I'll bring this cross-examination. Your Honor. Again, Mr. Wright. We've already removed any and all questionable areas of this testimony. It's about time you were removed from this court, Mr. Wright. I have to find something. Even one more little point will do. There are still questions left unanswered. What are you trying to pull? Oh, well, we can't have that. All right, Mr. Wright, what questionable point would you like to explore further? Bear? I think it's fairly obvious that the bear itself is very questionable. The bear, Mr. Wright? This was found at Mr. Ngarde's mansion. However, Mr. Ngarde was arrested at the hotel that night, which means that since the murder occurred, he has not had a chance to go home. Oh. I think Your Honor has already figured out what I am trying to say. It is not possible that Mr. Ngarde who took this bear... it was impossible that it was Mr. Ngarde who took this bear into his mansion. Why, that's very true. We didn't consider that point, Mr. Wright. There was no way, time-wise, for the defendant to have taken this bear home. Oh, disaster averted, it looks. You haven't gotten the best of me yet, Mr. Wright. I remember it clear as day. I remember what you muttered to yourself at Ngarde's mansion. We have this area completely surrounded. There is no way for him to escape. I can't believe it. That butler, all this time, he was the killer. The killer and Ngarde were working together, so to speak. And the killer was hiding it in Ngarde's mansion, as its butler. What a bold move. The bear figurine was brought back to Ngarde's mansion by the killer himself. When it looked like he was about to be arrested, Ngarde had him do so. I assume because it would have been bad to have the police found it during the investigation. Well, Mr. Wright, you've been quiet for a while now. This is too much. Isn't there anything I can attack at all? I think we've heard enough. We know why this bear figurine was at the defendant's mansion, as well as who it was that received the bear from the assassin in the room. Everything has become very clear. The client who hired the assassin to commit the murder was Mr. Matt Ngarde. I see no reason for this trial to continue. Therefore, I will now hand down my verdict. Thank you, Your Honor, for your understanding. You see, Mr. Wright, you could not win against the truth, could you? I knew it would turn out this way. After all, what Edgeworth has stated is the truth. Any last objections, Mr. Wright? He really was, though, because he's the one that raised the... He was the one that got, like, the search party together and everything. I don't know why he's trying to end this trial as quickly as possible, though. There is only one way for me to drag this trial out. The only thing I have left is one dirty trick. Your Honor, right now we have these 2 reasons to believe my client is the assassin's client. Reason number 1, he accepted the bear figurine from the assassin. Reason number 2, that very same figurine was found in Engarde's mansion. However, it's possible this is all the work of a certain other person. What are you saying? What I am saying is, it's possible a different person is the killer's real client. This is really shitty of us to do. The real client? Yes. Is this all you have? Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your theory. Who do you say is the killer's real client, and therefore the real murderer? Fuck. Oh shit. I meant to hit R, I think. And you are free to turn your eyes from it, but at least try to make some sense. Okay, I'm sorry. I really... What did I do? I swear to God I hit R. Alright, well, thank you, video game. I meant to hit... I swear I hit R. Adrian Andrews! Yes, we already know that she tried to frame Matt Engarde for the crime. By wearing a spare nickel samurai costume. Ah, then the nickel samurai's arm that I saw. That could have very well been Miss Andrews. What about Mr. Engarde? If you would please recall yesterday's testimony, the defendant was taking a nap during the break period. That's right. Then, finding this figurine at Mr. Engarde's mansion, it was a well-laid trap set by Miss Andrews. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion on this? I can't even begin to count the flaws in this defense's logic. Besides which, there is no evidence to support it. However, I can't fully discount its possibility either. What is with this trial? Come on, anyone can tell Engarde did it. I can't believe the defense would go so far to pin the guilt on someone else. Yeah, unbelievable. It's not something petty, it's murder of all things. This is to save Maya. This is to save Maya. Even if the whole world turns against me, this is one fight I can't give up on. Order, order, order. All disruptive parties will be forced to leave the courtroom. Your Honor, for the benefit of the defense, I'm willing to play along with his what-if game. His what-if game, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution is prepared to challenge the defense's theory. Mr. Wright, even you must have thought it strange and wondered, why would the criminal want this little wooden bear? He's right. The killer did especially bring that bear to Engarde right away. Why do you ask? Is there something special about it? Absolutely. And I'm sure that once the court knows its significance, the true killer's identity will become crystal clear. Your Honor, the prosecution calls upon a witness who will clear all doubts against Miss Andrews. And who would that be? It's quite simple, Your Honor. Miss Adrian Andrews herself. I see. Well then, the court will take a short 10-minute recess. The prosecution will prepare its witness at that time. Yes, Your Honor. Oh, I knew it was a good idea to hold her hostage. Don't you agree, Mr. Lawyer? But I never thought in your desperation you'd try to pin the guilt onto Adrian. I swear this demon will pay. Mr. Nick! Pearls, where's Mia? I don't know. A really strong power suddenly called her away. A really strong power. Oh, Mr. Nick, your phone! It's from Gumshoe. How's it going? Have you been hanging in there, pal? Yeah, sort of. We just barely found something to latch onto. Oh, that's good, pal. And what about you? Anything yet? Have you figured out where D Killer and Maya are? We still don't have any leads, but... What? We don't have any more time. If we just had one, even a single clue would be really helpful. I was only able to come this far because I kept thinking to myself, I've got to keep the trial going until Maya's been rescued. But have I just been running out of luck this time? But have I just run out of luck this time? Is all our hope for naught? A tent. Huh? A tent? I could see its circus tent. Mia! It looks like Maya was unconscious until just a few minutes ago. As soon as she woke up, she called for me. So it was Maya that called you away. She's locked in a dusty little room right now, but I could see a circus tent outside the window about 300 feet away. Gumshoe! Is there a circus in town right now? There's only one, pal. The very big circus. Maya's somewhere within a 300-foot radius of the main tent. What? Okay, hold on a second, pal. Hey, draw a circle on that map. About a 300-foot radius from the main tent. Hurry! And I could see a mailbox under the window just outside. Gumshoe, there's also a mailbox. Okay, what else? What else, Mia? I'm sorry, but it was a very small window. I couldn't see anything else. I felt like I was in an old office building, maybe 3rd floor or so. I heard her. An old office building. Good stuff, pal. Okay, just hang in there, pal. Just a little longer, pal. Wish us luck. Good luck. I'll call you later, so don't let your battery die, okay, pal? Mia, Maya's not hurt, right? She's in a pretty bad state, Phoenix. She's being starved. Gumshoe, please hurry. Looks like we're out of time. Are you alright, Phoenix? It's only a matter of time before Maya's rescued. I could do this. I just have to make this trial last a little longer. The board will now reconvene. The killer. The man who murdered the victim handed this to his client. From this, one obvious question arises. Why this particular item? I believe the answer to that question will be provide us with the name of the real culprit. Now then, the prosecution calls the defendant's manager, Adrian Andrews, to the stand. Currently, the witness is accused of tampering and obstruction of justice. However, you have been called to the witness stand today to ascertain who exactly is guilty of murder. I understand. Very good. Now, have you ever seen this bear before, Miss Andrews? Of course I have. You have seen it before? That's right. It's only natural that the witness has. Miss Andrews, could you please enlighten the court as to the bear's secrets? Alright? Why does she... Actually, this is an elaborate puzzle. If you know the correct order, it can be taken apart one piece at a time. At its center is a small cavity with just enough room to store a small item. Because of its complexity, if you don't know the order, you can't open the bear. You really can't tell that it's a small jewelry box just by looking at it. So this figurine is a container of sorts, is it? Yes, looks can be deceiving, wouldn't you agree? Yes, this is superb craftsmanship. Oh yes, I nearly forgot. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. It looks like there really was something to that bear after all. Actually, this is an elaborate puzzle. If you know the correct order, it can be taken apart one piece at a time. At its center is a small cavity with just enough room to store a small item. Because of its complexity, if you don't know the... Oh, I'm reading and not actually pressing. A puzzle. That's right. But it looks like an ordinary figure. True enough. To people who don't know, I'm sure they would never guess that this was a puzzle. So what kind of puzzle is this exactly? If you know the correct order, it can be taken apart one piece at a time. So you can take it apart. And how would that go? And how would one go about doing that? Well, you first turn its tail to the right and then push it in. Oh, yes, I see. After that, the arms and legs are free to move and can be removed. Oh, this is the most interesting. A boy and his new toy. It's like he's 5 all over again. Oh, don't mind me. Go ahead and carry on. I think he's lost it. So what do you find after you take the puzzle apart? At its center is a small cavity with just enough room to store a small item. And how do you know about this? I know because I was the one who bought it. Huh? It was a souvenir from when a friend and I went to Switzerland. Then this was a present from you. That's right. It was a puzzle in the shape of a bear, so I thought it would be perfect for one. So it was a present from Miss Andrews. Witness, let's continue with your testimony. Because of its complexity, if you don't know the order, you can't open the bear. So, who exactly knew how to solve this puzzle? Only the 2 of us, Juan and myself. It was a souvenir from Switzerland, so I doubt there are that many people with the same bear in this country. But this looks like it could be so easily broken, especially if someone wanted to get in. What's inside? Well, it's a toy, but it can never be the same again once it's been broken. You really can't tell that it's a small jewelry box just by looking at it. Who else knows about this bear? Who else knows that this bear is actually a small container or jewelry box? I never told anyone. And as long as Juan never told anyone either, then only the 2 of us knew. The 2 of you, huh? Then of course that means Mr. Angardi didn't know, right? I think this is about all I'm going to get for now. Oh, the suicide note's in there. Like 100%. Well, Mr. Wright? I think even you have come to realize. Hello? That there is one very important fact we have uncovered, and that is this. The bear is actually a jewelry box. Now that we have agreed to this point, there is only one logical question that can come next, and that is this. What is inside this box? What's inside? That's right. That is what we are going to find out next, Witness. Yes? You are the only one who can open this. Please. Oh, congrats! I got the healing pants as my drop too. No, he's fine. Phoenix made an assumption because I guess he didn't call or something. I don't know. He, like, honest to God, went on vacation for a few months because he had a really rough end of the year in that last game, and Phoenix got mad about it. I don't know. It was very dumb and didn't make a lot of sense. I've opened it. Is this what you wanted? What is this? This looks like a note. I don't think we need to guess at what that is, do we, Mr. Wright? It's the suicide note. The suicide note? The suicide note left by Juan Correda's former manager, Celestin Pax. Until now, no one knew of its whereabouts, but just as we suspected, it was hidden. Hidden by the victim, Juan Correda himself. It's true. You're right, Sprightly. It seems Celeste Impax had very beautiful handwriting, and she just as beautifully signed her own name on this document. This note most definitely, this is most definitely the note she left right before she committed suicide. Oh, order! Witness, did you know about this? Yes, I did. I heard all about it from Juan. When I discovered his body, I looked for the bear. I wanted to destroy the note before it became public, but I couldn't find it anywhere. because it had already been taken by the killer. Everything is going at Mr. Edgeworth's pace. So now that suicide note has been found, what's the next logical question? What is written on the note? That's right. At least that's what I would think. Now, then, I believe it is only appropriate that the contents of this note be made known. I can't stop you, can I? I went through so much just to get my hands on it. And I was going to burn it, for her sake. As she does. I'm deeply sorry, but I can't, allow you to persuade me to stop. Your Honor, if you could please read the contents of this note aloud. Very well. The judge's voice rang loud and clear through the deathly silent courtroom. In her note, Celeste Impax left us a record of all that had happened to her, about being used and then thrown away by Engarde, about being engaged to Coretta and Engarde's role in destroying that, and about how she decided, in her despair, to end it all. And that's all Miss Impax had to say. There is one thing I would like to say here. The prosecution has no interest in slandering Mr. Engarde. Then what? Our intention, Your Honor, is to establish a motive for murder. Isn't that correct, witness? Yes. On the night of the murder, Juan was going to make the contents of the note public. After the proposed ceremony show, he was going to hold a press conference. My word! Matt Engarde values, above all else, his refreshing like a spring breeze image, which is why he had to stop this note from being made public. At any cost. It's Engarde's fault that that woman killed herself. Ugh. There's no room for doubt here. Mr. D. Killer's client's goal was to obtain this suicide note, and the only person who needed this note that badly was the defendant. Let's not forget that the bear with the note inside was found in the defendant's house. It seems that we have come to the truth at last. The defendant's motives were entirely selfish. He deserves no sympathy from anyone. How am I supposed to escape from this one? Why the hesitation, Phoenix? Gumshoe hasn't called yet. You know what you must do. I know. I have to carry on and buy him some more time. Okay. There are two deadly pieces of evidence. The figurine and the suicide note. Maybe somehow I can find a way out of this situation through one of those. The gavel is ready at the judge's hand, Phoenix. Hurry. Oh, fuck. I don't know. The suicide note or the figurine? Which one should I pursue? I guess the note. There was no way that Engarde would know about the note. And the bear. Please wait, Your Honor. He also wouldn't know. Oh man, look at that lawyer. I think Your Honor believes that Matt Engarde killed in order to obtain this note. Yes, that is correct. But that seems a little strange. In fact, I think there's a contradiction here. This note was hidden by Mr. Coretta until the night of the murder. If that is the case, I'd say that Matt Engarde could not have known that what was written in this note. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. Exactly, but I did think of it that way, and I thought it was rather strange. No one in their right mind would kill for a note without first knowing what it said. Order, order, order. You make a valid point, Mr. Wright. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion? It was just a flesh, but I think I did rather well on that one. Unfortunately, I think he believes differently. I believe a show of appreciation is in order. The defense seems to be in love with wishing more despair upon itself. I would like to direct the court's attention to this. What is that? It's a very small video camera, Your Honor. This type of camera is commonly used as a means of spying. Spying? I forgot all about this, honestly. What the? I thought that spy camera was in my possession. Matt and Garde and the victim both thought the other as the biggest rival. They even went so far as to use this type of item to find each other's weaknesses. And the victim, Juan Corretto, was being spied on. His personal life was being watched by none other than Matt and Garde. Order. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. You don't tell me you knew about your client's spying activities. Well, sort of. Sort of is not an acceptable answer, Mr. Wright. I see you're confused, Mr. Wright. You're probably thinking that I have the camera that was in the stuffed bear's eye. But this camera that I have is not the same one. Last night, I searched the victim's house on a hunch, using this gumshoes bug sweeper. By the way, Mr. Wright, the defendant's fingerprints were found on this camera. Just Matt Ungardy's fingerprints were on there. Well, Phoenix, it looks like those cameras were hidden all over the place, huh? What am I supposed to say to that evidence? I think this is the end. It's fairly obvious that Mr. Ungardy learned of the suicide note through this. He was watching the victim all along. He got me good this time. I don't have anything to counter that. Hey, now what's that lawyer thinking? Mommy, is that man a bad killer? Ugh, smoke. Phoenix. Yes, Chief. Have you figured out what you're going to do next yet? What am I going to do next? Does running away like a frightened child work? I know it seems like Mr. Edgeworth is very close to putting a lid on this case, but in his eagerness to prove his point, he forgot one very important thing. Well, what is it, Mia? There is a piece of evidence that he really should investigate. Something he should investigate. I would really hate to see a good prosecutor get scolded for not remembering to look into the item when he had the chance. Why are you speaking in riddles all of a sudden? And I think this time we finally understand everything. Well, Mr. Wright, you don't have any further objections, do you? What is this piece of evidence that Mia is talking about? Can I figure out what it is that still needs to be looked into, or should I let it go? I have an objection, Your Honor. That was about the weakest objection I've ever heard, Mr. Wright. Objection! Your Honor, the defense has no intention of letting this go so easily. You are beginning to sound desperate. That's just your imagination, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, this is not like you at all. In your eagerness to prove your point, you have forgotten one very important thing. Hey, isn't that what I just said? So you're telling me that I forgot something? You were so close, Mr. Edgeworth. But there's something you really should examine about this piece of evidence. What the fuck are we talking about? It's probably my new... I have no idea what we're talking about. It's gotta be some of the new evidence, though. I can't actually look at anything. The only evidence that Edgeworth hasn't had a chance to look at would be the suicide note, because we just found it. But I don't know what else there is. Oh, that's not what I want. This is Miss Impact's suicide note, correct? Who knows? I mean, sure, this suicide note was found inside this bear, but this bear was in my possession until only a few moments ago. Which means... the handwriting on the suicide note has yet to be analyzed. Oh. So, As to whether this pivotal piece of evidence was really written by Miss Vintax or not, that has yet to even be remotely confirmed. It's actually a genuinely good point. Mr. Wright, are you saying this suicide note is a fake? Miss Andrews, you were the one who tried to pin the murder on Mr. Angarde. Who's to say you didn't create a fake suicide note and put it into this bear? How dare you! Your Honor, the defense is indiscriminately accusing the witness again. There is no evidence linking the witness to the suicide note whatsoever. But if this is a fake, then the witness is the only person who could have made it. What? Recall the witness's testimony concerning this figurine. The only person other than the victim who could solve this puzzle is the witness herself. Miss Andrews, you wrote this note, didn't you? You wrote it so you could use it to frame Madame Garde. I did no such thing. Right. If you're going to pronounce this suicide note a fake, then show this court some evidence to support your theory. Mr. Edgeworth, you were the one who presented this scrap paper as evidence. That means the burden of proof lies with you, the prosecution. That's enough. Mr. Edgeworth, can you confirm the handwriting on the suicide note? It is as the defense stated, the handwriting has yet to be analyzed, because we just found this fucking note. If that's the case, it seems that yet again we have reached a point where a verdict is impossible. That's impossible! This isn't good, Phoenix. The judge is going to carry this trial over one more day. I don't think Maya will physically be able to make it another day. The girl hasn't eaten in 2 days. She will genuinely be fine. I didn't want to have to do this, but I have no choice. I request that both the prosecution and defense further investigate. Handwriting analysis might, but that's just the lawyer trying to buy more time. I think we've reached the end of the line. Look at them scream. Oh, she got kidnapped by a serial killer. Or an assassin. So that's why Maya got kidnapped. And we have to prove this guy innocent despite him being guilty. Otherwise she gets murdered. It's Gumshoe. Hello, Gumshoe? What is with him? And what's with that sigh? Where's Maya? What happened to the killer? He got away. What? I'm sorry, pal, I really am. I don't know what to say besides I'm sorry. I wish there was a way to make it up to you, I really do. Anyway, what's going on? We found his hideout, pal, but the two of them were already gone. This is terrible. I'm gonna keep looking for them, pal. Don't you worry, I just need a little more time. But don't tell me we don't have any more. Do you hear that? They're calling for his head. Mr. Bright, I can't. For us to come this far and... Oh. What is it? Let me talk to Mr. Edgeworth. I can't do that. Just throw the phone over the desk. Just talk to him. Just a little underhanded talk. Mr. Wright, would you please get a hold of yourself and get off the phone in the courtroom? Are you kidding me right now? Yes, Your Honor. I'm about to end today's proceedings. You may take your phone calls after. Hold on, Your Honor. Edgeworth, catch! Hey, there we go. The little phone just spinning. Mr. Edgeworth. Please, you've got to buy us some more time. Court is in session. There's a... Court's in session. That was so cold. Well, Maya's dead. Yeah, me too, Phoenix. It was so fucking dramatic. You throw the phone over the aisle, the spinning JPEG, and that man just hangs the fuck up. It's absolutely delightful. I'm sorry, Your Honor. You were saying... We're in court. Mr. Wright, this is a court of law. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but... This is an absolute circus. I am reluctant to do this, however. It appears that I have no choice but to suspend proceedings until tomorrow. This time I really can't do anything. Isn't it good that he gets suspended? Because we have another day to find Maya. I don't know why Court is now adjourned for the day. Yeah, Edgeworth, you want to fix this mess you fucking created like an absolute star? Please wait, Your Honor. Edgeworth. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I humbly request another 30 minutes of Your Honor's time. For what purpose? We can perform the necessary tests on this piece of evidence in that time. But can you really obtain your results in 30 minutes? I believe we can, Your Honor. But wouldn't it be better if we adjourn for today and then reconvene tomorrow? 30 minutes. Please, Your Honor. That is all I'm asking for. Please, Your Honor. Very well. At the prosecution's request, the court will now take a 30-minute recess. But be advised that I will not allow another recess today. I'm not sure if this is helping or hurting us. The court will now take its final recess of the day. Right. Well, what's going on with Maya's situation? Hey, it's not good thanks to you, champ. You're not good right now. The killer, it looks like he got away again. You would have known this if you'd taken the phone call. You fucking clown. 30 minutes. We can't find her in that time. Report. Oh, he still has our cell phone. Oh, is that Mr. Edgeworth? You hung up on me and that really hurt my feelings. No, he's fine. He looks better when he's smiling. He's got a really snooty look. We don't have time, just spit it out. Right. It looks like we just missed them, sir. The killer left a few things behind. By accident, in his rush to get away. A few things. Can we use any of them as evidence? Oh, I thought you'd ask, pal. I got the things he left with me right now, and I'm on my way over. Fuck Maya. Really? That's odd. Any items like that are usually sent to the crime lab first. We don't have time to wait for those guys, sir. When those guys weren't looking, I swiped the stuff and ran. Fuck. Just took it. I just stole the evidence. What? Well, I'm not a detective anymore, so I had to. I'm really sorry, sir. I gotta put the law on hold for now. Sounds bad. I hope he doesn't get too much trouble over this. With my Hunga Junk car, I'll say I'll be there in about 20 minutes, sir. Don't worry, I'll be there. Wait for me. Alright, just get here in one piece. I'm on a mission, and no one can stop me now, sir. No one. I'm pulling out all the stops. I'm running every red light. I items left behind by the murderer, huh? Maybe there's something among them that will be decisive enough to end this. Hey, what's wrong? Detective Gumshoe, answer me. No one can stop me. Well, he's dead too. Now the cast is just dropping like flies. What happened? It sounded like he had an accident. I'm guessing his cell phone broke as well. Killed. What was he thinking? We've got to hurry and call for help. But we have no idea where he is. His cell phone is broken and he wasn't driving a patrol car, so no radio either. Also, if we don't get those items before they do, the police will take possession of them. No, we can't let that happen. Well, if there is a way we can find out where he is, then we stand a chance. Why, oh why did Gumshoe have to get into an accident now? Is there any way to find out exactly where he is in this moment? I don't know. I would guess probably. Francesca has a tracking device on him. That's right, there is a way. What? How? I'm sure we can find out where Detective Gumshoe is through this. That's not it. Why are you bringing up Francesca at a time like this? Oh, I see. I'll try and get in contact with her. The chances are slim, but she's all we have. Francesca, will she even want to help us? Edgeworth, what is it? I don't have any right to judge anyone ever again. I know my client is guilty, but what I'm doing now, I'm pinning the guilt on someone totally innocent and using evidence to do so. It might be my turn to say, Defense Attorney Phoenix Wright chooses death, right? It doesn't suit someone like you to cry useless tears. Whether you did your job well or not, that can only be seen after the verdict has been decided. The verdict? Is Prosecutor Edgeworth here? Yes, bailiff. There's a phone call for you, sir. They said it was extremely urgent. They're probably finished with the handwriting analysis. I have to go take this call. In the meantime, think hard about what it is you must do. God, I want this game to be over. It's too much. I'm in a tough spot. Because I don't know if there's enough game for a stream. But I don't think... I know how much you hate this game. I guess tomorrow will be a really short stream. And it actually finishes out the week very well. I'm just going to assume that we can finish this game tomorrow. Even if it's a rather short stream. I've had... Cast is dead. A lot happened. So much happened. This is actually not a bad place to stop, and then we can finish. I assume we're finishing the case tomorrow. Good lord. The circus? Oh, so the circus... I don't even know how to explain the circus. So, what happened with the circus is, I guess it was 6 months ago, there was a lion, and the lion was allergic to pepper, and the little girl played a trick on her acrobat friend. Yeah, it was the pepper, and the lion sneezed, and it closed his jaws on the one acrobat's head, And so the acrobat's brother wanted revenge on the little girl, Regina. So he wrote her a message that said he was going to kill her. And she didn't understand that that was for her because she's kind of dumb and also probably 10. I don't know. And so she wrote that note on the bulletin board because that definitely wasn't for her. And so the ringmaster saw it and was like, well, that won't do. So he put the death note in his pocket. And then he went to go to where the note said to be. And the acrobat in the wheelchair who couldn't see over the window just assumed it was Regina and dropped the bust onto the ringmaster's head thinking it was Regina. And then because it was Max's bust and the ringmaster for whatever reason was wearing Max's coat and glasses or coat and hat, the wind blew the cloak onto the bust and the acrobat pulled it up with like a rope. It was very stupid. And that's how it happened. He didn't mean to kill the ringmaster. He meant to kill the 10-year-old girl instead. Whoopsie dipsy. As you do. But that's how that went. It wasn't a good trial. But it was a trial. But anyway, that's going to be it for Phoenix Wright. I will be back in an hour and 20 with more Nier Replicant, and hopefully it won't take me forever to fill a boss, because I'm stupid. So more Nier Replicant. I think... What am I doing in that game? I can't even remember anymore. Oh, we're going to the desert. That's what we're doing. I also will do fishing while I'm waiting for a stream to start. Maybe. I'll get those blowfish somehow. But thank you so much for being here. There will be more Phoenix Wright. We will do the end of Justice for All on Tuesday at 2 p.m. EST. But for right now, there will be a Nier Replicant at 6 p.m. EST. And I hope to see you there. Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a lovely afternoon. Goodbye.